Every morning, an old man walked the dusty path with two pots hanging from a bamboo stick. One pot was perfect, the other had a long crack running down its side. The cracked pot knew it lost water with each step. It often wished it could be whole like the other. At the river, both pots were filled to the brim. But by the time they reached home, the cracked one was only half full. I am useless, it whispered one day. I cannot even do the one thing I was made for. The perfect pot stood tall, always proud of its purpose. It never lost a drop, never felt shame. But the old man, listening, smiled softly at the cracked pot. You are more important than you think, he said. The pot did not believe him. It had seen its flaws and failures too many times. Tomorrow, the man said, look closely at the path on your side. The pot stayed silent, curious but doubtful. Dawn came and the journey began again. The cracked pot turned its gaze downward. There along the path it dripped on were flowers in bloom. Daisies and tiny wild roses waved gently. How? The pot murmured. These were not here before. They have always been, said the man with a twinkle in his eyes. You have been watering them every day. The pot trembled, unsure of how to feel, but I still failed to carry all the water home. You did more than carry, the man replied. You gave life to what was barren. The cracked pot fell silent, not with shame this time, but wonder. All those years it thought it was broken, but in truth it had been a silent giver. Why did you not tell me before? It asked. You had to say it for yourself, he said. The perfect pot remained silent. For the first time, it too looked uncertain. That evening, the cracked pot sat proudly, not for being perfect, but for being enough. Days passed and more flowers bloomed. People began walking the path just to see them. Children played near the colorful blooms. Some whispered that the path was magical. The cracked one did it, the man would say, but most never understood what he meant. One day a storm came fierce and wild. The path was washed and the flowers beaten. The cracked pot mourned. All that beauty gone in a day. But not the seeds, the man smiled. They have taken root deep below. Hope stirred again in the pot's heart. Even invisible things had value. Months passed and the man grew frail. His steps slowed, breath shallowed. One morning he did not come to the river. The cracked pot waited and waited. A new face came instead. He lifted the bamboo stick with trembling hands. The cracked pot missed the old man's grip. It missed his warmth, his words. He told me about you, the man whispered. Said to walk the same path. They walked and the pot licked again. Flowers slowly began to rise once more. The new man talked to the pot like an old friend. He said, you were magic. The pot smiled in its silent way. Not magic, but meaningful. Over years, the path became a garden. People came to rest, to read, to sing. They called it the cracked way. No one remembered why, but they loved it. The perfect pot sat unused one day. A tiny chip had appeared on its side. I am no longer flawless, it wept. The cracked pot leaned in with kindness. Flaws are not ends, it said softly. They are just doors to different stories. The chip grew to a crack, and then a bloom followed. Now both pots watered the path, and the garden grew wilder, freer. A poet once walked through the blooms. He wrote about the garden born of brokenness. His words traveled far. People came seeking hope. The cracked pot watched silently. It had never spoken loudly, only leaked gently. A statue was built one day near the river, of a pot with a crack and wildflowers growing from it. Children were told a tale each spring of how a broken thing made beauty eternal. Not all believed it, but some carried the story in their hearts. The cracked pot grew old, worn, and thin. One day it too cracked open entirely. The man laid it in the soil. He planted seeds inside its broken halves, and from that final rest, A tree rose, sheltering the path forever. Birds built nests on the tree that grew from the pot. Their songs filled the morning like a hymn of rebirth. Beneath its shade, old friends met and reunited. The cracked pot's resting place became a beginning. Artists sketched the tree's twisted trunk and radiant plumes. They called it the tree of grace. A writer once sat beneath it, tears falling quietly. I am broken, she whispered, and the breeze replied, grow. Every season the tree bloomed differently, as if the pot's soul still danced with each petal. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.